Listen here, and now it's time for another cartoon theory. Now, as you all know, a lot of people in the SpongeBob community despise seasons 6 and 7 for their notorious shift in humor, flanderization, and having some moments that felt like they were ripped right from the Ren and Stimpy show. Things like boating buddies, making SpongeBob be this creepy guy who looks like he wants to marry Squidward, the Splinter and its abuse on SpongeBob, Choir Boys for badly parodying the Looney Tunes short Back Alley Uproar, the Card for Patrick's stupidity, and a pal for Gary for making SpongeBob this evil, ignorant man who can't even get through his thick skull that his pet was a danger. Now, I know the writers were never intentionally putting in all this stuff they think the viewers will hate, but I want to counter that theory and wonder if they did this on purpose. Now, before you go all, that can't be the case, allow me to give my pointers to figure out as to why I think this. You see, this all started when Season 5 aired the unthinkable, Spongehenge. This episode was one that made me give up on SpongeBob. Why? Because those jellyfish stalking him, Patrick betraying SpongeBob even though being stung wasn't his fault, and having a perpetual windstorm that wiped out all of humanity. That episode was the straw that broke the camel's back. It made me think SpongeBob should have ended a long time ago. I'm pretty sure the writers didn't mean for any of this to be bad. In fact, I think when they first pitched this to Nickelodeon, they were worried they would get cancelled. But to their surprise, Nickelodeon approved Spongehenge, which was not a good idea if you ask me. Deep down, the writers realized that they completely ruined the face of SpongeBob forever when it came on the air. And my wild assumption is that they secretly wanted to get the show canceled without Nickelodeon knowing. They started writing and approving episodes such as The Splinter, Boating Buddies, and many others that everyone in the fandom were completely disgusted by, hopeful that they could finally end the show and move on to other things. But after every first airing, Nickelodeon always said no. Nickelodeon didn't even bother to give them the axe when they made A Pal for Gary. They just decided, let's just air it anyway. That's not going to stop us. They could have been so kind. So basically, my theory as to why those two seasons of SpongeBob had so many bad episodes was probably because the current people behind the show were so worried that the show was starting to lack the legacy that the previous 5 seasons had. So the writers were left with no choice but to make one bad episode after another and hope that they would get off the air. But before Steven Hillenburg's return after the second movie, Nickelodeon always said, no, we are not going to cancel SpongeBob. You have to stop making these bad episodes now. The point I'm trying to make here is that making bad episodes that people hate is not the solution. The only thing that can fix it is the show ending. But the sad part is that it's probably not going to end for a long time. The thing is, people will keep coming back because they care about the characters. Because those bad episodes of SpongeBob are associated with something that they once loved. And because viewers who have never seen these episodes, these stories are fresh and new and interesting. And will seem a lot better to newer viewers than all the other viewers who have seen all the older SpongeBob episodes. So yeah. That's my theory on why Season 6 and 7 and partially 8 and 9 of SpongeBob had more bad episodes than the other 5 episodes. I just think the people behind the show wanted to cancel the program, but every time they show it to the network executives, they just said no. But again, this is all just a theory. I have no proof explaining that these episodes were made because they wanted SpongeBob to come off the air or anything like that. In the end, SpongeBob is always hit or miss with people. Most of us will remember the classic 3 seasons, others will remember the current ones. Of course, like all shows, SpongeBob will end someday in the future, but until then, we'll just have to deal with it. But anyways, that's all for now. What do you think of my theory? Is it possible that the writers wanted the show to be gone with all those bad episodes, or is it something else? Feel free to let me know in the comments. Join me again soon for another cartoon theory. Bye for now.